everybody doing? I'm glad everyone was able to come out in such cold weather. First, I'd like to introduce the mayor's here, the mayor's staff. We have the chief of police, Mr. Bobby Cummins, here. City council members are here. And I'm going to get started because I'm going to let Stephanie do the other major introductions. First, this is Black History Month across the nation. Events and activities, celebrations are taking place to honor significant contributions of Black African Americans in the field of human endeavors. In Delaware, we had Ms. Hattie Phelan, who first became the first African American woman to serve on City Council. She was first appointed in City of Wilmington in 1967 to fill a midterm vacancy and was reelected to serve two more four-year terms. City Councilwoman achievement paved the way for our first government, including Lisa Blunt-Rochester, first African American elected Congresswoman, the Honorable Henrietta Johnson, the first African elected State House Representative, the Honorable Margaret Rose Henry, the first African American State Senate, the Honorable Velda Johnson, first African American elected City Treasurer, and our Honorable Hanifa Shabazz, first African American elected President. I'd like to also I have to definitely acknowledge former Councilman Darius Brown, because this is ongoing efforts of Darius Brown, so I'm glad former Councilman Darius Brown was able to make it. With that being said, I'm going to pass this on to Stephanie Bowden, please. State Representative T. Stephanie Bowden.
Good morning. Yes, I think it's still there. First, I'd like to thank Councilwoman Zanthia Oliver for the acknowledgement here of Hattie M. Phelan, who was, as we know, the first African American to serve on Wilmington City Council, and who also served, filling out a term, and also was elected to two more terms in which she served. Hattie Phelan passed in 1976, and from that time up until 1992, there was a void on City Council in terms of African American women. I was the second African American woman to come in after that number of years when I was elected in 1993. I'd also like to acknowledge Darius Brown, former council member, for keeping the memory alive and going on prior to his leaving to bigger things. It gives me great pleasure to be able to introduce Hattie Phelan's granddaughters. Prior to coming to the podium, I'd just like to give you a little bit of history about the garden. This garden was first established in 1993. It was a vacant parking lot, and Mr. LaFate, who used to live right across the street, we called him the mayor of 10th Street. And he complained about the cars always being parked here in this area. So it was Deborah Sewell, who lived up the street here on Pine Street, and LaToya, who lived on Sherman Street, that first got together, myself, and we were able to contact and locate Hattie Phelan's granddaughter. And from that, we were able to have her, because Hattie Phelan owns this land. And so we were able to get funding from the Delaware Horticulture, MBNA America, which also assisted, and Senator Bobby Marshall, as well as Senator Margaret Rose Henry, in funding the money that gives you the garden that we have today. And of course, I have to thank Mrs. Brown, who has carried this on since we finally got this done in the inception. The mural that you see on the back celebrates East Side history. These are many, many people that actually lived here on the East Side that contributed to the history of this East Side and to the state of Delaware and the city of Wilmington as a whole. William Dutch Burton, who used to live right across the street there, was also a member of Wilmington City Council representing the 3rd Councilmatic District for which you are located. You will see a lot of our teachers that are up there. Louis L. Redding's up there, Mrs. Hamilton. Most of the teachers, doctors, lawyers lived right here in this community on the east side. So there's a huge amount of history that you will uncover if you just look and visit some of the spots that we have here on the east side, as well as Clifford Brown, who you know was a renowned jazz musician. So without any further ado, with that little bit of history, I just want to first, before I introduce the granddaughters, I'd like to recognize former council member Kevin Kelly is here as well. And I'd like to thank everyone that has participated in terms of being able to have this garden here, as well as what we're doing going forward. I've established a scholarship in Hattie Phelan's name, which also represents William Dutch Burton as well. I think it's very important to keep the history alive of those that came before us that made it possible for us to be where we are today. We should never forget from which we've come and always acknowledge what was there in the past in order for us to be successful in the future. Dr. Marcia Taylor and April. Dr. Marcia are the granddaughters of Hattie M. Phelan. Dr. Taylor is a professor at Delaware State University, and she also works with the Alumni Association at Delaware State University now. Dr. Taylor and her sister April have been very, very active in making sure that the Burton-Phalen Scholarship continues, and we're getting really good students that are a part of it. The Burton-Phalen Scholarship is a scholarship that is awarded to matriculating college students that must be a sophomore or better. They receive $1,000 or more each year, sophomore year, junior year, and senior year. They must maintain a 2.50 cumulative average, and they must live within the 2nd representative district, which is the 3rd representative district is located, and also they must give back 20 hours of community service each year. We have had several young people that have graduated from the Hattie Phelan and William Dutch Burton Scholarship. Some of them are right here on our police force. Brittany Barnes is one of our officers, and it was a recipient of the Hattie Phelan's scholarship. Also, our former council member Darius Brown was also a recipient of the Burton-Phalen Scholarship. So Marcia, I've given a little bit of information out in April, so I ask that you please come to the podium as we can recognize you and everything that your grandmother did for us in going forward. So please welcome Marcia to the podium.
On behalf of our family, we'd like to thank the City of Wilmington for this outstanding honor. We'd like to thank all of the hands that helped make this garden a success. That will be the students from Howard High School and all of the community members that came out to help paint this great wall to give honor to the African Americans in our community who made a real big difference. We thank you, we thank the mayor, our police chief, and as we move forward, we hope that this inspires other members of our city to reach the goals and to strive for the things that the members on this wall gave to our city. This is a great city, and again, we thank you for this great honor.
Good morning. We're honored that a historical marker is going to be placed here in honor of our grandmother. We both graduated from Howard High School, and you know, I remember when I was a little girl going to the doctor's office right there on the corner, the medical doctor's office, and I just hope that Wilmington can come back and become the city it was when I grew up, where we had strong communities, teachers that really cared about us and made a difference. We have to reach back and remember our communities and to help where help is needed. Mr. Mayor, the members of the City Council, we need help with addiction. It's really destroying our city, our country, actually, but since we're dealing with the local issues, and for the kids that are living in homes with addicted parents, those of us that are educators or just people in the community, we need to step up and help the kids, because they need to go on and have successful lives that, irregardless of challenges that they might face when they grow up. And so I'm passionate about kids because I'm an educator, and I just hope that we can move forward and do some things to help people to free themselves from addiction and to move on and live positive lives. And so I thank everyone for taking time out of their day to come and celebrate this unveiling of the marker, and thank you.
Thank you both. Next, I'd like to introduce Gary Foreman, Chief of Staff.
Good morning. On behalf of Council President Shabazz, I'd like to extend congratulations and thanks to those who have seen fit to recognize a pioneer here in the city of Wilmington. Former Councilman Darius Brown, Councilman Oliver, and State Representative Bolden have all played a role in ensuring the history here on the East Side. President Shabazz regrets that she cannot be with you today due to an appointment that she was not able to alter, but extends her well wishes and congratulations for the placement of this marker here at the corner of 10th and Pond that can be a symbol for all of our kids and the folks in our neighborhood in the rich history of the city of Wilmington. Thank you.
Now we'd like to bring to the podium the person that can make all of these things happen, and we're going to give him a report card. So please welcome our mayor for the city of Wilmington, Mr. Purzycki. Mayor Purzycki.
A report card, oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really so happy to be here. I have to tell you, like so many people, I've come down the street, I've come down Pine, I've made a left here, and I've looked at this beautiful mural in this space time and time again. And so I think it's a fitting place that such a magnificent individual gets her life's work memorialized right here in Wilmington. I have to tell you something, when I was looking about the accomplishments of Hattie Phelan, and this is for her granddaughters to remember, because you're such kids, you don't remember. 1967, when she was appointed to council, wasn't a great time. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, where they burned the city down in 1967. Racial relations throughout this country were just dreadful, and it was a remarkable. Thank you very much. It was a remarkable achievement at that time in the 60s for an African-American woman to be elected to council. Let me just say a little perspective about this. Chief Cummings and I have spent the morning together. This is our second meeting together. But it was when we met this morning talking about the intersection of culture and health and how the two impact one another in our poor communities. Something was said that reminded me of a discussion that I had with John Rago a week ago. I talked about the importance of changing the narrative for our young African-American youth so that they see themselves as part of a narrative of heroism in their history. And today, speaking about all the impacts on our poor communities and our minority communities, the individual in charge, a really very impressive guy, said one thing proven to change outcomes was to change the story of African Americans. And he said, don't start with slavery. Don't start there. There's so much more that young people can be so proud of. And it seems to me that we have to be telling the story that is enabling and ennobling. And to me, that's what this does. This gives us an opportunity for young kids to see that there was someone who looks like them, that years and years before we took it for granted, that a woman had the bravery and the talent and the ability to become a councilman and represent this district. So it's all a part of the way I look at the world that we're here today, and I'm so pleased to be a part of it. I want to just mention that Herb Inden is here. He's our Director of Planning, and it's the Planning Department itself that's responsible for the placement of these historical markers throughout the city. And I will say this too, to Dr. Marcia. I heard you talk, it was almost a cry for help. We have to come back and make the city the great city it once was. And I can just tell you, I feel that we have a city coming together that's going to do just that. And that's the way we all ought to be measuring our value and our worth as citizens of this city. Is at the end of a period of time, we're going to come back and I'm going to check my grades and see how I'm doing. So thank you all so much for having me. It's a wonderful day for our city, and I'm proud to be here. Thanks.
Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, next we're going to do the unveiling of the marker. And this is my first press conference. I'll be ready for the next one.
5, 4, 3,